Hello and welcome to another episode. I am Brian, the Unskilled Commander, and this is High Octane. This series is all about taking my decks and giving them the perfect storm setup to see just how fast they could possibly win a game. Not just do well, not whatever, but actually literally win the game. Now, a perfect storm setup means the absolute best opening 7 cards and the next 10 cards stacked on the deck in the proper order to hit just when I need them. This also assumes no interactions from my opponents, no counterspells, no board wipes, no targeted removal, nothing, which of course in and of itself is impossible. But that's the thought experiment of it, that's the fun of it. Doesn't matter that it's not really going to happen, but just what can the deck do? And that helps me analyze it because, well, should the deck be faster? Should it be a faster turn to win? Is it not doing things well enough? Do I have wrong cards in it? Things like that. Today's episode is a fun one because I really love this new deck. New-ish. It's Sheoldred The Apocalypse. This one, as you know, it's a legendary 4/5 with Death Touch. Whenever you draw a card, you gain 2 life. Whenever an opponent draws a card, they lose 2 life. So there you go. The crux of this deck is to make my opponents draw a ton of cards, and the second half is to make them discard cards. Because if you're making your opponents draw cards, they're going to draw into their win cons. They're going to draw into the proper removal to destroy Sheoldred. So while it sounds like a really great, powerful commander, and it is, at the same time, it's not some all-impressive thing that can't be stopped. It can pretty easily be stopped. 2 or 3 targeted removals on Sheoldred, and now it's like 8, 9, 10 mana to recast. It's not worth it. But let's go ahead and see just how fast Sheoldred can win the game. So turn 1, we draw a card, we play a land, which is a swamp, of course, tapping it for a soul ring and tapping the soul ring for a thought vessel. That's all we can do there. We pass turn. It goes around the table. Everyone's doing their normal stuff, some lands, maybe a 1-drop or 2. Comes back to us. Turn 2, we untap, upkeep, draw for turn. We play another swamp, tapping both swamps and soul ring to cast Sheoldred. Now, we pass turn and it goes around the table, but on every single draw step, they each take 2 damage, putting the total per opponent at 2 damage. Comes back around to us. They're not thrilled, but they're probably not that concerned yet. We untap, we draw for turn, we play another swamp, we tap 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to play Saison, Perverter of Truth. It's a 6/5 demon spirit. More importantly, though, at the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player loses 2 life and draws 2 cards. Now for us, that's no big deal because drawing 1 card gets us that 2 life back, and Saison is making us draw 2, in addition to your actual draw step, which comes after the upkeep. So we're not concerned about it, but everybody else should be. At this point, while we do have a 4/5 Death Touch, we're not going to swing. We're going to pass turn. So on everyone's upkeep, they're going to draw 2 cards, taking a total of 4 damage, and lose 2 life, which is 6 damage. Then they're going to go to their draw step, draw a card, and lose another 2 life, putting it a total of 8 damage on that turn, and putting the total per opponent at 10 damage. Not too shabby. Now they might be starting to be a little concerned, and they might start trying to swing in on us and get as much damage as they can. It goes around the table, comes back to us for turn 3. We untap. We would, of course, draw the cards and gain our life, but we're not going to go through that in this particular video. It's all about taking out the opponents. We draw for turn. We play a land. We're going to tap 1, 2, 3, 4 to play Teferi's Puzzle Box. At the beginning of each player's draw step, that player puts the cards in their hand on the bottom of their library in any order and then draws that many cards. But we're not done just yet, because we're going to tap another 2 to play Howling Mine. At the beginning of each player's draw step, if Howling Mine is untapped, that player draws an additional card. Again, we could attack with our 6/5 and 4/5, but we're not going to. We're going to pass. Now what happens is on their upkeep, they're going to lose 8 damage thanks to Saison per player. But then on their draw step, they're going to dump their hands. We're going to assume for the simplicity of the video that everyone just has 3 cards in their hand at this point because they've been playing lands, maybe playing some artifacts, some small creatures, etc. They're going to dump all 3 cards, draw 3 cards, taking 10 damage. Then they're going to go to their draw step. Well, that is on the beginning of their draw step, sorry. So they dump their cards, draw 3, taking 6 damage, then draw for turn, and draw an additional 1 because of Howling Mine, making it a total of 10 damage. Which means, technically, for that turn, they've taken 18 damage per person, which brings the absolute total per person to 28 damage. That is all we can do, though. It's passed, goes around the table, comes back to us for turn 5. The final turn. We untap. Upkeep, we do our own life gains and stuff. Draw for turn. We're going to play a land, tapping 3 swamps to play Underworld Dreams. Whenever an opponent draws a card, it deals 1 damage to that player. Then we go ahead and tap 1, 2, 3, 4 and play Fate Unraveler. Whenever an opponent draws a card, Fate Unraveler deals 1 damage to that player. Now, we just pass turn, and that's the game. On every person's upkeep, they're going to take 10 damage, thanks to Saison forcing them to draw a couple extra cards and take extra damage, because it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 damage per card. That's 8 damage, with Saison making you draw 2, and then he deals 2 damage to you as well, putting it at 10. You then move to your draw step. We still assume they have 3 cards in hand. At the beginning of the draw step, they dump the 3, draw 3, and then draw 2 more for actual draw thanks to Howling Mind, bringing the total for draw step damage to 20, which makes the total damage per opponent 58. Everyone's dead, you're the winner. I think that's a pretty solid turn 5 win. It's a lot of fun. It's crazy. Now again, as I've said, you're not going to get this far. Someone's going to blow up some artifacts. They're going to blow up Sheoldred, blow up Saison. It's fine. This is, again, as I've said a million times, thought experiment. It's about the fun of seeing just how badass your deck can be. And technically, Sheoldred can in fact go off on turn 4, because as I've shown in the deck breakdown of Sheoldred, I do have the Exquisite Blood Sanguine Bond combo cards in here. So I could have just put them in the opening hand and simply put a ton of mana ramp like Thran Dynamo and everything else in there to basically get Sheoldred out on turn 3, and then dropping both Exquisite Blood Sanguine Bond on turn 4, past turn, win the game. I didn't do that simply because we've shown that combo in Dina as the win con. I didn't want to do it again, and also there are no cards that go get those cards. There's no tutors or anything in this, so it's a matter of hitting those out of blind luck for the combo aspect. And I thought it'd be a lot more fun to show the real way, quote unquote, for Sheoldred to win. I hope you saw some cool cards that you might want to try in your Sheoldred deck, or just any of your card draw decks. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Maybe give it a like on your way past, and I will see you next time.